You'd never know it, but there's a side of quarrying nobody ever sees. When the sun sets and the crews leave, when the gates lie locked and the site sits silent and still, quarries offer up their secrets to those who know where to look. Welcome to the secret life of quarries. The porcelain in this sink, the tiles on this floor, the marble that built these walls, and this house, and every house on this street, and the very stuff of the street itself. All are made from materials found in only a handful of special places. We call these places quarries. It's from here we take the millions of tons of material destined to become homes and hospitals and highways. But this sort of stone doesn't start on the surface. It lies hidden, deep in the dark beneath our feet, under ton after ton of the soil and spoil we call overburden. To reach the rock we want, we need more than just machines. We need to know the secrets of overburden removal. It starts with the soil. Topsoil and subsoil is pushed up, pulled up, piled up, seeded with grass and wildflowers, then left to form a natural noise barrier. Useless as building materials and as lifeless as the moon, mudstone, sandstone and shale are piled up and pushed to one side. As the quarry grows, a virtuous circle emerges, where voids left by rock removal in one area are refilled with overburden from the next. When all the stone is spent, at the end of the quarry's lifetime, the overburden is replanted, the soil replaced, and the area returned to the earth. In a handful of years, all that's left are gentle slopes leading down to a lake. Or at least, that's the idea. In reality, planning an overburden removal operation is a daunting task. As an example, with an average ratio of 1 to 10, and counting in metric tons, a typical operation must extract and remove 100,000 tons of overburden each year. But how? Let's assume we have one excavator and 2 articulated trucks. We'll give our excavator a big bite, 4.7 cubic meters, and say our duo of trucks can each heft 28 tons. With stuff like this, each bucket load comes to 7 tons. That's 4 full buckets to load each truck each time. With a typically untidy and uneven haul road, our excavator can send 8 fully loaded trucks to the dump area every hour, or a little under 2,300 tons per day. Working 10-hour days with a 3-machine fleet, it can still take over 45 working days to complete our overburden operation. Some sites clear spoil as they go, running parallel production and removal operations. This is easier said than done, as it requires either retasking part of the existing fleet, reducing productivity, or paying for an entire secondary fleet, reducing profits. Other quarries leave overburden on site and only clear it periodically. This is usually cheaper, but too many waste piles can start to choke a quarry, making manoeuvring harder and causing delays. Ultimately, no matter how we split our time, we are faced with two possible paths. Use some of our machines all of the time, or all of our machines some of the time. And no matter what road we take, there are other costs too. Hundreds more hours of wear and wages per machine, ratcheting up both costs and the risk of equipment failure, damage, or loss. Then there's fuel. Even a small fleet like this could burn 24,000 litres of diesel per year, at no small cost. And yet, all of this would be a small price to pay for an otherwise uninterrupted, uninhibited quarrying operation. In most cases, excavators are an overburden operator's best friend. Ideal for awkward or sticky overburden, they can reach almost anything and go just about anywhere. True, wheel loaders combine mobility and low costs and excel on even ground. But even slight differences in overburden consistency caused by, say, a sudden shower, can turn a path into a quagmire and a half-ton of spoil into a whole ton of trouble. Choosing a wheel loader instead of a more sure-footed excavator can complicate and slow the work, pushing costs up and productivity down. Whichever machine we make use of, picking the right bucket and ground-engaging tools, and keeping these sharp can be the difference between making a profit and just making a mess. Machine choice extends to truck type too. Entropy ensures that even the best-kept loading area will devolve into a morass of ruts, dips, and slippery vegetation, slowing work, increasing costs, and multiplying risks, which pose a real problem for rigid frame haulers. In conditions like these, the adaptability and agility of articulated dump trucks tends to make them a far better choice than their fixed base cousins. Even now, with the right machines bearing the right equipment, it's still possible to ruin a good operation by using them in the wrong way. Take loading. Simply by having the loading machine elevated on an overburden bench and positioned at 45 degrees to the hauler, cycle time can decrease by a third, while fuel efficiency can increase by almost half. Over the course of a year, with 100,000 tons of material being moved, the difference in fuel and time is staggering. Overall, overburden removal gives us 1,000 things to think about. What kind of soil? What kind of spoil? How much? Where from? Where to? Excavators, operators, costs per ton, crew, rainfall, ratios, fatigue, fuel, conditions, and permissions. Unless, of course, we hand the whole problem to someone else. For every overburden operation, there's always a contractor ready and willing to take over. For a price. Is this a price worth paying? The only way to know is to do the sums. Stack up load counts, material moved, production schedules, fuel burn, production targets, and dozens of other considerations, and see whose costs come in lower. And the best way to do that is to rely on specialist fleet production and costs analysis software, because, in the end, the real secret of overburden removal is knowing when to handle it ourselves and when to pass it over. And because, once the overburden is gone and the land laid bare, we need to dig up the true prize. How do we reach and grasp and pull ton after ton of rock to the surface? That's the secret of extraction. And that's a tale for another day.